All right, welcome to Raising Funds for World Domination, day number 275. All right, for today's daily update, there are no updates on the renovation situation, because I guess it's Saturday now, so no further communications on the anticipated appeal, for which I still do not have a case number. And there are two block types available in the Shopify Store. I sold a couple days ago, so I'll get those added soon. And today I continued making more graphics for the next long form video. And keeping with the theme, we will continue work on the terminal block mining simulation game. So yesterday, I don't think I did any coding. But I did some review to try and come up with a plan for how I'm going to start the refactor to kind of consolidate the multiplayer and single player clients together. And it's going to start with there's, I guess, a session class that I'm going to change. Okay, this still works. Orthoplex 64, how's it going? So I think I might be able to just add a flag to the constructor, and then I think I can get rid of the extra method that I want to remove. Dean 22113. Have you seen Cloud Code devs are having trouble deploying a good TUI? Have I seen? Not really. I haven't kept up with that stuff too much lately. I occasionally watch some. I'll see some recommendations about like what the state of the art is. I keep an eye on it enough to know like this. Occasionally, people come into chat or make videos and say like this has changed everything. All developers will lose their jobs in 6 months. All code will be generated in real time this year. And I keep an eye on it enough to see if it actually is improving to that level. But I mean, it seems like it's getting good, but I haven't yet to actually sit down and play with it yet. So I think it's funny because Anthropic sells the idea that it's amazing, but then they use it to develop their own TUI and it doesn't do a great job. They need you to develop their TUI? Yeah, I guess. I should sell it to them. Right? Maybe once they find my repo, they'll train Claude on it. And then it'll steal all my code. And then everyone's terminal's UI will look like mine. So this is kind of I'm trying to find the end of this thread to unravel. And I think so I have this problem where I have a general client server interface. And when I send a message, sometimes the message just goes to the, I just send it right into the other class. Sometimes it has to go over the network. Let's look at the server thread launcher again. Okay, so that's only used here. Send blank message. I'm realizing I kind of forgot how all this works. It's been a while since I wrote this. So I guess that's done separately because it can't go in the constructor. do unopen. It's in the base class. I guess what I need is in database world connection. I need a method to send the message. Okay, that would make sense. there's another interface type. Oh, I forgot I even implemented this. Okay, I guess maybe one way to start making progress might be to stuff these interface classes inside the world connection classes. And then I'll have to have 3 different types of world connection classes. Well, let's see. Is this one different? Okay, that is most definitely different. Some of this is fairly common code. See, my original design was kind of bad to begin with. I think this interface class probably should have been a couple different classes. So you have all these like setter methods and stuff that complicate everything. Giordani says, hello there. How's it going? Great. Excellent. How am I? I'm doing alright. I'm slowly grinding away on multiple fronts. Sounds great. It is. It's been a while since I wrote all this. I totally forgot how it works. Can you tell us about it? About the code, I mean? What do you want to know? Everything. I made this interface class, and that gets passed in. I guess that gets passed into the client and the server context class, and it allows them to interface. But I didn't really design it well because it. There's a number of different places where it gets called. I guess maybe I should maybe just split them up into different classes or something. MDE explains x86. It's the psychopath here. Remember me. I do remember your username. Yeah, I think that might be the best method. It's just to I will turn this into. I'll get rid of the inheritance, and then start deleting methods that are not necessary. And that way I can reduce complexity. And I don't have to think about everything being complicated. Yeah, this is a good plan. Are you saying weird things in chat? There's a lot of people that come in here and say weird things in chat. Became better since then? Excellent. Still working on that Java terminal console game? Yes, indeed I am. Will this work? No, it won't, because if it's a different class, it won't, the type won't work. Have you tried anti-gravity? Google AI tool? I have not. When is how to make a RAM? I'm just going to defer to the how to make a CPU video for that. If you are interested in, if you want a little bit more detail on how RAM works, actually I do have some videos. If you're very interested in the topic of RAM and how it works, you may find I have a video called "What Causes Bit Flips in Memory." That's like a 30-minute video discussing that. Only has like a few thousand views. I put a lot of work into that video, discussing how physical events that can cause bit flips in memory. And then I also have the video I posted, I think just before that, was one on where I actually did a debugging of I experienced a bit flip in memory, and I root cause analysis on it, trying to fix it. It was just about the details and complexity of trying to figure out bit flips. Okay, I think here's a way to approach this. First, I'll make a copy of let's see. There's three different client server interfaces I have. I'll make a copy. make a copy of the base class. That's just to slowly make them more specific. I'll watch it now. Excellent. Even if AI become capable one day of writing entire applications in the blink of an eye, nothing would remove the joy of understanding how programming works. Yeah, it is nice to understand how things work. Adriel Kachal says hi. How's it going? When you understand how to use polymorphism to do complex structures and solve inheritance problems. Yeah, inheritance is useful, although I think in this case, I think I actually made a mistake using inheritance for this problem, which is kind of why I'm like trying to untangle this mess right now. All right, so what we do, I could maybe go like more aggressive on this refactoring, but I don't like, some people like to refactor stuff where they just go with like, they'll re-architect everything and change like 9,000 lines. And then they try to get it working again, and it doesn't work, and it's full of bugs. But I think what I'll do is I'll make a copy of this base class, and we'll call it for server. We'll do server block model context. For server. Oh, actually, that might not work because this goes into the base class. So that's why I used inheritance. Hey, Robert, just popping in. Thought I'd say hello. How's it going? Yeah, the reason I made it a base class to begin with was because it goes in here reference there. Because it's actually not. You know what? I could. Okay, let's make the first code change. Okay, clean slate. So first we will do this. And I want to go slowly because I got to test this on many different applications. There's basically, so I have the client, there's the single player client, the multiplayer client, and then the server that all have to keep a reference to this thing. Yo, full Gamian. Oh, it's not English. Best of luck. Thank you. Session close. Okay, so that might be. That one might be a problem. Favorite genre of music? I don't know. I'm not sure if I necessarily have a favorite genre. There's some genres that I don't really like that much. There's not very much rap music that I like. Country music kind of just sounds all the same. So this might be a snag. Session close work item. session open work item. Listening to Brian Eno's Thursday afternoon while watching a Robert Elder stream is a good combo. Brian Eno. That name is familiar. I forget who he is. Is the grandfather of ambient music. Relaxed music for airports in '78. Also did a lot of alternative rock. Oh, Brian Eno. Is he the one who did the soundtrack for The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly? The Ecstasy of Gold? I remember at least a couple months ago now, I was having a conversation with someone about that song and the soundtrack for that movie. What does the session opening look like in all the three different classes? That would be Morricone. Okay, a different Eno. I don't even know if those are pronounced the same. Okay, so I have two different ways of opening. Opening sessions. I guess I'm gonna make a second interface for that. Giordani says, I want to get married with an Australian girl. Any advice? You want to get married with an Australian girl? I'm afraid I don't have any advice. That's a very specific problem that you have there. I mean, I guess you could go to Australia. Are you in Australia? I think it would also be important to talk like Australians. You'll have to watch some Australian comedy shows, learn the language well, pick up all the slang that they use. I think Australia is also experiencing a lot of immigration too, so technically you may have to learn a language other than English. I mean, I spend the whole hour, I've almost done nothing. Once again. No, not in Australia. Why specifically an Australian girl? Like their accent? That is a pretty good reason. Let's see, I could just make like an interface class for these two methods. I think that would get it to compile. YouTube once again not showing Robert my comments. You said it censored you saying nar. Oh, that's tragic. Why can't YouTube? There's historically there's been all kinds of weird people making comments. Why can't it censor swear words and things like that? Nar? That's not offensive at all. That's proof that it's a conspiracy. They're trying to censor the free speech that truly matters. In this case, I caught them red-handed. Okay, maybe we'll just make a quick class for this. I like my drink with a lot of ice. Let's see if I get banned. Was it some reference to the ICE protests going on? I don't think they're that strict yet. The word ICE is a very, very common word. Okay, that might do what I want, and then where'd the interface class go? Session. Okay, and then this will be passed into the interface. If you mention words that are trending, your stream gets promoted. That's possible. But then I guess if people come here, it'll recommend, like if I talk about trending things and then people come here and then they get disappointed, it'll probably teach the algorithm that this is the wrong place to be. It'll hurt the channel. Okay, that's what this needs. Okay, that's close. I always wondered how great mathematicians create a whole subject in mathematics themselves, like Newton for calculus. I think Newton apparently like simultaneously discovered calculus with what was it, Leibniz, and I think we actually use Leibniz's notation more. We don't. Newton had he used like dots or like some other notation. I think at the time, like the intuitive thing that they discovered was kind of like it was kind of natural. Like back in those days, there was nothing. The number of things that existed was a lot lower, and it was kind of the world was prime for inventing those things, which is, I guess, why they were kind of simultaneously discovered. I think you can even. I think even to this day, there's a bit of like. I think Isaac Newton. Well, okay, I'm not sure if I'm making this up. I think there's a rivalry between Isaac Newton and Leibniz or whatever his name was. You could probably, and there's probably like you could probably find people on the competing teams even today. All right, a bunch of errors. Local session operation. A lot of discoveries, inventions in history were weirdly nearly simultaneously discovered 2 or even 3 people groups. Yeah, I actually published. If any of you have seen my blog, I published a. What was I doing? Oh, I was actually writing a diff tool, which is also on GitHub, but no one really uses it. But I was working on a diff tool. And I became interested in like different algorithms, and I was looking for just like a simple diff algorithm that I could copy and paste, and I couldn't find one, and that led me into the Myers diff algorithm, and I published a blog post on that, and like right around the same time, someone else published a pretty detailed blog post on it. And I thought that was kind of a random coincidence. First time watching someone using VI for programming. I think VI is actually symlinked to Vim, so it's technically not real VI. I think once the concepts mature, most people start to see the value and use them rather than the intellectual feuds. I think also a lot of them, like when the discoverers figured these things out for the first time, they do it as just kind of, it's like a small bit of intuition. They don't fully flesh it out, and it's not until like years later when people write like 5,000 PhD theses on it that are really, in some ways I think it kind of makes their work, it makes the body of work that they did seem like it was larger than what really was. Because when people have to refer to it, they would just like what was it? There's, I think, a few famous formulas or things where like the person never actually wrote it out that way. I can't remember a specific one, but wonder what is still out there for people to create that will make huge impact. Probably lots. It'll be interesting to see if AI is able to get smart enough to solve math problems and stuff, like the Riemann hypothesis. Professor accuses students of cheating. Yep, they're going to do that more and more. It's kind of funny. Some professors have gone like, especially in the early days of AI, I saw a bunch of that where like these professors almost had like AI cheating psychosis, where they were like randomly accusing students of being like, you used ChatGPT. I know because I copied and pasted your thing and asked ChatGPT if you copied. And like it's a large language model, so it'll just arbitrarily claim ownership of things. AI's been winning math Olympiads, solving Erdos problems lately. Yeah, it does still seem, it's got like it still does seem to have a curve fitted problem. So it does like insanely well on problems it's seen before and problems that are slightly out of the sample set. But if you go like just a little bit more, it kind of seems like it's like they're performing better on the they appear to be performing extremely well like on the benchmarks, but then when you go outside of that, they're still not quite there yet. Mention if it proves P equals NP. The interesting thing about the P equals NP is it's so the hypothesis is if you found a polynomial time algorithm for one NP-complete problem, then you find a polynomial time algorithm for all of them. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe that there is no existence of a proof that there is not a linear time algorithm for an NP-complete problem, which would be interesting if like somebody found not even a polynomial time, because there could be a polynomial time algorithm that's just like insanely inefficient or something, but it'd be funny if it's just like some simple linear time algorithm that nobody thought of to solve one NP-complete problem, and then instantly all of them are solvable. Gotta go watch Sean O'Malley fight. Have a good night. It was a yes or no for GPT. I can't understand you very well. I'm not sure what you were asking. Your last comment was about first time watching someone using VI for programming. It was and yes or no for GPT. It could still be linear or be slow. That's true. But it'd be funny if it was just like a super fast algorithm. Every single NP-complete graph thing, linear time is just some like 6x O of 6n linear time. Pray for Oklahoma, pray for Virginia. I'm not sure what's going on in those places today. I wish I could take a shot at these open problems, but my math is not strong. I always wish to have the ability to formulate problems into theorems. From my experience, I think I actually made a bit of progress in like for that blog post I wrote on the Myers-Diff algorithm. My experience with like trying to work on that stuff is I think you just have to spend insanely long amounts of time on it. Like most people are just pushing to get as many papers and stuff out there as possible, but if you spend more time on the problem and just like let it stew in your brain and think about all the connections between that problem and all the other adjacent things, then eventually you start to come up with ideas that no one's thought of yet. There's an ice storm. Oh yeah, I saw some people freaking out on social media about it. I don't know, is it really that bad? Mayor Steph. The Myers diff algorithm. That's a difference. It's for finding edit sequences, like if you use git diff. Actually, git diff uses the Myers-Diff algorithm. Coldest place on Earth? Yeah, it seems like every year, it almost seems like it's becoming this is just like the ultimate state of like the algorithm. The algorithm has to like it almost like finds mental weaknesses, and so it creates like, so if it detects that people are excitable about something and be exploited like monetarily. Like I've almost wondered if maybe Walmart or something is not behind pushing a lot of the, like, whenever there's a storm, they're like, oh man, crazy storm, run to Walmart, buy everything, don't think, because people keep doing that, and then after the storm, they're like, oh, I guess it wasn't that, it was raining, that was it. And now people went to Walmart and stocked up on, overpriced bananas that were about to go bad. And Walmart got rid of their bananas. Now they have some money. See, they're not as bad. People have no internet. Yeah, I haven't been following it super closely, but it's cold here. Like, I'm up here in Canada. It's normal. It's basically normal temperatures for this time of year. A few years back, it was even colder than this at this time. Looking at wind temps, radar tracking stuff, it's pretty cold, all the way down to Mexico. Yeah, I guess maybe that's why. Like, it's cold here, but it's normal cold. But I guess in central U.S. must be far below average. Right, that's not correct. Well, that's because I don't think I changed it. Okay, single player works. It's possible to run a video game from terminal. Yep. All right. That looks like it launched. Did not crash. All right, let's make sure the multiplayer client works. All right, multiplayer client still works. I changed a bunch of stuff. Okay, now I think I should be able to delete a couple of these methods. Let me think. Send block message. I wonder if I can move that one in too. Maybe not yet. Okay, one step at a time. So testing single player client again. That works. All right, no exceptions. And let's make sure the multiplayer client still works. All right, that looks like it works. Right, so that's a good improvement. Less code duplication. Okay, so I guess the whole focus of tonight and last night was to try and find the thread, the start of the thread where I can kind of untangle this and refactor it in a way where I can actually add like multiple player connections. And I think one consequence of this is I'll end up merging the single player and multiplayer client code. So they'll just be the multiplayer package will just won't exist. Let's see. Oh yeah, and the reason I did what I just did was because I did that to get rid of. I had a reference in here to the abstract class in this base class, but I removed that. So what I think I'll do is I think inheritance was not the right thing to do with that. I put too much in those in that client server interface class, and there's three different implementations of it, and they all do a bunch of different things. So I think what I'll do, that I tried to do but was not able to this stream, next stream, I will work on maybe start with the server, the client server interface class. I'll make that a specific class. And then once all of them, when all the the single player and multiplayer, all using just specific classes. Then I can start pruning methods out of them and deleting like unused stuff. And then I can go from that, of an actual functioning thing, and I can whittle that down into something that actually works in a more generic way. So it'll all be a part of one client. And I guess at some point along the way, one of the things I want to do is make it so the setup process for setting up these connections is done so I can actually do it within the game. But I'll consider that. I'll think more about that next stream. So we'll be back tomorrow night for day 276. All right, have a good night, guys.